All right. Hey, Ben, let's go through the newsletter.
Okay. Oh, sure.
Perfect. Yeah, so today is February 6th, 2026. So we're just going to go through our newsletter. So the first topic that we added was interest rates. I think like we always add interest rate to our newsletters because it's one of the most important things that affects the housing market. So the latest Bank of Canada um, action was that they put interest rate on hold again. They kept interest rate unchanged um, partially because they think the economy is stabilizing, and we believe like on the real estate side, it's really helping buyer have some stability with their monthly payment because before like the rates were going up and then last few years it was coming down. So like the buyers never knew when the rates were it's going to stop changing. So they've stopped the rate cuts for a while. So I think buyers are anticipating just stability for the next while. And that gives a lot of predictability and confidence that their mortgage rates is not going to change. And I think that really helps with buyers um, getting back into the market potentially. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure that stabilizing the interest rate gonna help people to make up their mind and what they're gonna do next. But of course, a lot of people still um, worry about that. Is the interest rate gonna drop more in 2026? So we keep waiting a little bit longer so they can get a little bit better rates. However, like we talked about it last time, that waiting has cost, right? So I think in general, like most of people, let's say they accept the interest rate is not going to go down um, as much as back in 2025, then I think they will start planning to go back to the market.
Hmm.
Um, and those people will get the first step. But let's say they're going to check out the MLS, they're going to see what are available and see which um, listing actually is a good deal for them, and then they will make the decision they're going to be faster. But if people they still, for some people they still want to wait, and they might lose the opportunity to buy those good listings because the spring is going to come. No matter what, the people that they want to come back to the markets, they need to buy. They have to buy, right?
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, the next topic we really wanted to highlight on our newsletter was the China-Canada relationship. I think especially for our like Chinese community, like the China-Canada relationship is very important. And especially in Metro Vancouver, there's just so much like immigrants from China, and like it's not just the immigrant, but like they also bring the capital, right, the money from China to buy real estate. So like the economies between the two countries and the relationship between the two countries definitely, if it improves, will definitely give people more confidence to purchase, and obviously better economic activities and more trade. It's gonna create more wealth for both countries as well. But we do think it's going to take a long time. It's more of a long-term impact, and it probably won't have much immediate impact.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
but
do you
it's a
think,
good
Ben? Yeah.
signal. Yeah, it's a very good
Yeah.
signal. However, there's going to be a little bit risk as well because the U.S. they always don't like to see China and Canada having like a too
Good
close
relationship.
relationship
Yeah.
because they
Makes
worry
sense.
about that might in some sort of fact for U.S. as well.
Yeah.
But however, there's going to be a good sign. At least the government like try to do something, even though we do not see the result right away. But
Hmm.
just need to pay more attention to those news. And yeah, I mean, when there are more signals, then that means like the housing market could be a little bit benefits from those policies.
Hmm. Yeah, I think if these policies actually come into place, like at least it gives some people a lot like more confidence, like especially Richmond, I guess. I think
Yeah,
there's more
well, some
economic
industry
activities.
will be benefits from those policies, but of course, some people may
Hmm.
not. Um,
Yeah.
but that's still going to be too much to discuss for our newsletter. But just for the real estate size, what we need right now is a confidence boost, right?
Hmm.
If people they don't have the confidence, like even though they see a good deal, even though the low interest rate, they still don't want to move.
Yeah, makes sense. And yeah, that brings us to our next topic, the US tariff uncertainty. Because Donald Trump was like threatening Canada again after like the China Canada like meeting, right, with Carney and Xi. So this brings us into our next topic. If trade tensions escalate between US and Canada, that obviously is going to be negative um, for the Canadian economy. Tariff is just going to affect every single sector almost that involves physical goods, which is going to also impact housing demand when the economy and employment has more uncertainties. Yeah, so definitely we got to monitor this one as well, not just the positive of the China-Canada relationship, like you said earlier.
Yeah, that's going to be tough because Trump is really unpredictable.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes it's really hard to understand what he want to get from Canada. Of course, he keep he keep like putting threats on Canada because he knows that we rely on US. Um, so they got
Yeah.
more cars in their hands. So
Hmm.
yes,
Yeah, I feel like last year when the trade war first started, like I think he used Canada as like to show the rest of the world like what they can do, like even to the closest friend and neighbor, right? So
hmm
he just yeah.
if I can do it to my neighbors,
Yeah, my
um,
best friend. I can do it to anybody. Yeah, so don't mess with me. Hmm. Yeah, but for Canada, there's still going to be so if because last year housing was a historical bad year for the real estate market, not just Vancouver, but all over Canada. Toronto actually had it even worse, but Canada still had lots of levers because housing is still a big part of the economy, and like they're not going to just let it go down like forever. Like if they think it's they need to stimulate it again, or they got to stimulate economic growth, they do have these other levers as well. They can always boost immigration. They can always ease some restrictions on foreign buyers of housing, and also they can incentivize more housing supply by um, making interest rate lower for builders, and they can boost more housing demand as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just because in the past 10 years or 15 years, the real estate market was doing very, very well in Canada. So that make the government issues a lot of different restriction to try to control the markets or you can say cool down the markets. So
Hmm.
now comes to the real estate market is actually is not doing very well. So they got I mean what they restricted and now they can actually can make it loose and sometimes really depends on if Canada just want to pay more attention or focus on the real estate sectors. But right
Hmm.
now, I think the whole economy gonna distract them. And just see who they like, what they're gonna prioritize to help first. Right.
Hmm. At least they put on so many restrictions that they can just reverse some of them, and that would help. Like change at least the sentiment or change, give a little bit more
Yeah,
confidence.
I think they should
Yeah.
go back and yeah, just revisit those policy and see if they can make some adjustment or improve
Hmm.
it. Because they saw the result after they put in those restriction, right?
Hmm. Yes. And yeah, lastly, for just our newsletter content, our monthly content part of it, we added the big banks' prediction for 2026 is actually quite similar to what we predicted last month. There's not going to be like a massive boost or like massive like bull market, and it's not going to be like a crash either. Most of the bank is either expecting a modest dip like RBC, or gradual recovery like TD, or flat and stable. So that's basically what we predicted last month as well. So we're glad like the big banks are very similar to um, at least what we're seeing right now based on all the data and like what we're seeing now. They're extrapolating the next year is going to be pretty stable.
Hmm.
Yeah, no one is predicting a massive crash or like a bull market.
Yeah, so this spring is actually going to be very, very important. So we have to monitor the sales and the benchmark price and see which ways it's going to head to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the spring market will indicate what's going to be coming the rest of the year for sure. Yeah, and we always write these key stats, and let's go through it again. Yeah, like we said, the Bank of Canada kept the overnight rate the same, and we'll see by March if they'll lower it. But I think we believe it's probably going to still be kept the same, at least for the next meeting for now. The inflation rate went up a little bit, 0.2%. Yeah, recently, like it's still been hovering around 2%. Sometimes it did below like 2%, like 1.8, 1.7, and occasionally it goes up. Like it could be, I'm not sure if it's seasonally adjusted because like there is a lot of shopping in December for like Black Friday, Boxing Day. So who knows if it's seasonally adjusted.
Yeah, because we don't look at the details of the reports, we just get
Hmm.
the summary. So if we dig into the CPI report, then we probably can see which sections actually contribute the most to the inflation. But now we
Hmm.
don't expand those. We just have to have like a general sense about if the inflation rate is heading to the targets or actually it's getting worse. But even though like we see 2.4%, but when we go shopping, we really feel that for example the food, the restaurant, actually the prices still going up. It could be winter, but however, the feeling for more normal people is still um, seeing the price increase a lot. Hopefully,
Hmm.
gonna get better. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Especially last few years, it just increased so much because the high inflation in 2022, 2023. Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
Yeah. So I just yeah, the inflation doesn't mean that the price gonna go like going down. This is not like that. It's more like the speed of going up. So now just slowing down the speed of going up. It's not like everything gonna go back to like a few years ago. It's not like that.
Yeah, it's never going to happen again. I think the Bank of Canada really don't want deflation. That's even worse. Um, yeah, the unemployment, so for the last month, decreased from 6.8 to 6.5. Actually, today they will announce another unemployment rate statistic announcement. So we'll check that and put it on the next newsletter. But for the last month, it actually decreased by 0.3%, which is actually pretty positive for the economy.
Hmm.
Yeah. And for the average rent, it's been consistently going down for the last year or so, especially since the immigration has been basically declining. Um, like since even before Trudeau left office, like he's been putting in policies that been reducing foreign students and temporary workers. So yeah, that's going to really have a major impact on the rental market. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the rental market really relies on the immigration, the visa students, visa workers. if they're not coming, because last time we talked about it, like there was like 60% reduced students
Yeah.
in Greater Vancouver. Is just, yeah. So right now, if you have an investment property and your tenants are going to leave, when you find the next tenant, then probably you have to ask for lower rent. Um,
Hmm.
well, our advice, I mean, if you want to keep the current tenants, just because they found a lot of cheaper rents and then they want to move out and switch, and then you probably um, want to keep them and just lower or match the rent, and hopefully they will stay.
Hmm. There's definitely no big lines out the door to see your properties anymore.
Yeah, I
Like
just remember
2, 3
like
years ago.
I think last year I think I told you that
Yeah.
yeah, the investment probably one bedroom that I got in Richmond.
Hmm.
We just showed in the weekends, just over like 30 groups um,
Yeah, that's
came to
crazy.
view the property, and then like 4 or 5 people they submit the application, and then we just have we got we just have
Yeah.
to choose the best that we think. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
it's
a
not
good
that
time.
market anymore. Yeah.
Uh,
It's crazy. I don't think I ever heard the rental market like that crazy. Got to line up like out the door, like some listings, like 30 groups. I think that's a
mhm.
record. But now it's reversing a bit. Okay.
Yeah, so let's take a look of the stats in January. I'll give out a summary. It's not looking good because um, last year in December, it probably was the worst stats I have haven't seen for a long time. January, just like another continually report showing that January is actually not doing very well. Um, if you look at those numbers, um, it's all becomes a buyer's market. It's all below 12% sales to active listing ratio. Um, yeah, but I think January does a little bit tough um, to decide what can like in 2026 the whole year. But starting for February and March, I would say March, February, because it's like lots of it's kind of like the Chinese New Year's and some other holidays and still winter. But I think we probably going to see some better sign in February and hopefully in March. But if you're looking at the price compared to last year's, drop like 7%, 5%, 6%.
Yeah, that's pretty big drop, like for a big asset like real estate. And
Hmm.
yeah, everything seems to be negative now because even
Yeah,
last year,
even yeah,
occasionally there's like a month-to-month positive or something like that. But it seems like
yeah,
everything is negative.
yeah. But the thing is that you look at the big graph like below, you can
Hmm.
see the housing price actually still kind of high as well.
Yeah.
uh, because right now the logic is has changed. Like before, like people um, they buy, they just hope for appreciation, and then they know that they're probably gonna increase in value over time. But now is that people they start realizing, looking at how much you can make and how much you can afford.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I think the price was probably gonna still gonna adjust until people can actually can afford. But I'm not saying like if you make 100K per year, then you can afford like a 2 million home. It's not like that. It's just like uh, it's just like the housing price will start getting back to a little bit reasonable to match
Hmm.
how much you can make and how much you can afford.
Yeah. I think people are not like over leveraging and borrowing from all the family members just to buy a house anymore. I don't think it's that sort of market anymore. It's like if they can comfortably afford it, um, they'll get into it. Yeah, they're not gonna have
Yeah,
private
but
loan.
when we talk about
Yeah,
afford, it's like you have to include some of the situation. Like for example, let's say your parents gonna help you,
yeah,
um, give
hmm,
you like the down payment, and that makes you can afford it, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
for
I
sure.
mean, if you only can make like about like 40, 50K per year, and then you want to, even though you want to buy like a like a one bedroom, two bedrooms, about like 600K is still gonna be challenging. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so for Fraser Valley, it's gonna be it's
Even
worse than
worse.
yeah, because of people that live in Fraser Valley, mostly they just really depends on their income. If the economy is not doing well, um, that gonna be slower for them to get recovered.
hmm And I think during COVID, like the Fraser Valley area also went up a lot more. So I think it's like when it's correcting, also maybe more room to correct as well.
Yeah, because back then people worry about the inflation going to be out of control, and and lots of people they know that like real estate going to be one of the best assets to go against the inflation. So
hmm
people were kind of panic buying back then.
hmm
Place of Valley is more affordable than in Greater Vancouver, so that's why lots of money they flow into the Place of Valley. Um, but when the market is not doing very well, then yeah, like you said, Place of Valley is not
hmm
doing well.
For sure. Yeah. And I think during early COVID, also like people wanted to move like as far from Vancouver as possible, like from the city. They're like, oh, I don't even need to work in the office anymore. Like, let me just get a big house like as far away as possible. So I think that that is also winding down. People are coming back as well to the city.
Mhm.
And we can go through some of our predictions for our first quarter, 2026.
Yeah, so for the first quarter, so for the first one, you're probably going to see some buyers going to start going back to the markets. We just talked about because interest rate kind of like stabilizing right now. So those people they might just want to go and see any good deal in the market. So I mean, if you consider buying right now, then maybe it's a good time to open MLS and see any property that interests you. So you can buy that before others. So you can get it just like buying a pre-sale, right? You probably
hmm
not get the best price, but you will get the first dip, first choice, uh, and it's probably going to be easier to negotiate when. So let's say the market going to stabilize in 2026. Uh, when you see the sales start going back up, then the seller will have a little bit more confidence and they will be a little bit more difficult to negotiate. Right now, you could have like a bigger chance to negotiate as well.
Right.
Um, yeah. So for the investors, even though we don't really recommend investor to buy right now, unless it's going to be having a very um, good cash flow. So you do your math. So you collect the rents and minus your cost or mortgage and see if you can break even or even like get a positive. Then looking for the long term, then you can uh, shop for some of those properties. Yeah.
hmm Or if you just get a great deal.
Yeah. So great deal is means that you have to do your own math. Sometimes great deal
hmm
it's a good deal for you, but it's not good deal for someone else. I mean, you have
That's true.
to look at the whole picture. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. So I think still some of the homeowners or developer they still suffering from the high interest that accumulated for a few years. Uh, then we probably going to see a little bit more the foreclosures as well, uh, especially those having like uh, negative cash flow right now. So in the short term, I don't think they can repay back all those loans.
hmm
Did you watch the news about the landmark? Um, I think yeah they're also like having some uh,
Oh no. Oh yeah.
loan issues. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but it seems like a lot of developer these days are having cash flow issues or they're becoming insolvent. Yeah,
Mhm.
the only positive is I guess like the interest rate has been coming down for the last a year and a half because a lot of people were expecting like before interest rate were coming down, like high interest rate or like until now, I think that would have been really bad because a lot of people have ultra low interest rates like 5 years ago, right? Like from 2020, 2021. So if those people renewed on the really high interest rates, that would be really, really bad. But at least it's coming down a bit. It's still not as low as before, but not as bad as it could have been.
Yeah. So if you have lots of cash, then
Yeah.
you can take over those foreclosed properties.
Yes.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, for face value, we talked about this is more risky right now until the econ shows the sign that start getting recovered. Um, yeah. So I think right now just like keep monitoring the face value face value. I mean, if you really want to buy a home and you have low budget, um, yeah, I mean, still can go back to face value and take a look and see any good deal out there, right?
Yeah. Definitely seems like it's a much better place to get a better deal because the pricing has been dropping a lot more.
Hmm.
So you can probably pick up a good deal.
Yeah. So immigration policy right now is not that friendly. So we don't see too many people going to come in. We just have to like pay attention to the policy because they change like once in a while. Uh,
Hmm.
Even though like they announce like a very good immigration policy, it doesn't mean the market gonna go back right away. You still have to evaluate the risk because they might change again in the future.
Yeah. All these policies are always changing, so it's never forever. Just like when they were bringing in so many immigrants into Canada, some people just thought like, oh, we'll have like a million people coming in forever. Yeah, it's not the case. Sometimes there's like a backlash. They got to reverse the policies.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So spring market traditionally gonna be a good season to buy and sell. So I mean, if you really want to uh, get rid of some of the investment properties, or you want to downsize, upsize, uh, or you can just list the property back, and you will get the first wave of the buyers because those people are a little bit more hungrier because they probably waited for a long time and now they want to go back to the market and buy. Um, Even though I don't know, like it really depends on negotiation but the chance to sell it probably going to be a little bit higher if you want to list a little bit earlier.
Hmm.
Um, the last one, yeah. So for the GST exemption, we saw the news is actually is not fully implemented.
Hmm.
Um,
I think
so for
so.
the
It's
first time
not.
home buyer, uh, I mean, you really want to buy something that is between 1 to 1.5 mil, you have to double check with the accountants or maybe hopefully developers can give you a little bit more um, details and confirmation about if you can get a GST exemption. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, because
Yeah.
there's a lots of different news and some saying like, oh, you can get it, but yeah, because recently we didn't sell anything that is 1 mil, so we don't have the personal experience for that right now. Um, yeah,
Hmm.
so double check.
Yeah. But even if they eventually implement it, it's going to be only first-time home buyers, and it needs to be brand new property. Well, that's what GST is applicable on. So yeah, first-time home buyers basically you have to
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. I mean, people are interested about buying 1 to 1.5 mil. I mean, go look at the details. There's lots of different requirements. Like,
Hmm.
yeah. So you have to make sure that you are fully qualified.
Hmm. Okay, and I think that's it for our newsletter this
Yeah.
month.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone that they want us to explain the content we discussed today, yeah, welcome. Yeah.
Okay, okay. See you guys next month.
Okay. Thanks, David. Yeah, I think we can send out the newsletter to our clients. so they can get a copy of it and answer some of the questions they might have.
Okay,
And
let's do it.
yeah, yeah, and we'll do a newsletter in March.
Okay.
Hopefully, we can see a better market this year.
Yes, let's see.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, David.